right here I have a session. I want to jump into my browser and browse for some drum breaks. Today I am using this sample pack from the drum brokers called AKAI Drummo. Listen, this pack is honestly right now my favorite pack when I am digging through drum breaks. There's so many awesome sounding drum breaks and they just sound really good right out of the pack. If you're someone that just likes to have a batch of drum breaks ready to go as you're just getting inspiration, having a batch of drums is so helpful. All right, I just brought in a few drum breaks. I mean, there's so much in this pack. You guys want more information? Link down in the description. I'm gonna go to my main page. I got 4 different breaks. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but let's say I want to figure out the tempo. Let's say I want to stick with this drum break right here. Previously, I went over and I'm just tapping out the tempo. That's honestly my favorite way to figure out the tempo of a certain song that I'm bringing in. But if you want precise tempo matching and you want to know the exact tempo of a drum break, let's say, another way you can figure that out is by jumping into the sample edit page. So let's say this is the drum break that I want to use. I'm gonna jump into the sample edit page, and this is a very long drum break. I don't know how many bars and beats there is in this break. I do not want to select the whole entire length of this. I just want to select about 2 to 4 bars and have my selection, and then I will figure out from the MPC what tempo that is at. So first, I'm gonna go from chop to trim, and I wanna trim about 2 bars of this drum break. All right, so right here we have 2 beats or 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, that's perfect 2 bars. I'm gonna process this and I'm gonna discard everything from the left and to the right. And I just selected 2 bars of this break. If your song that you're bringing in is 4 bars or 8 bars or how many ever bars it is, you want to make that selection as perfect as you possibly can, and then count how many beats are inside of that bar. If you do not know how to count beats and bars and that's a little confusing to you, pause the video, go into YouTube, type in how to count bars and beats. At least it makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with samples and you're chopping up samples. You want to understand at least the basics of bars and beats and how to count that while you're sampling, because that's going to be very helpful. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to freak you out. You don't have to go into these crazy musical terms. We just need to know how to count how many beats are in bars. So right here is 2 bars. So there is 8 beats in these 2 bars that we have selected. For me to figure out the exact tempo, I just have to go to process, scroll all the way through until you see this time stretch option. I'm not going to time stretch. I mean, I could if I want to. I'm not going to do that. I just want to know what the tempo of this drum break is. So how many beats are in this drum break? There was 8 beats. It's already selected at 8. If this was at 4, I gotta make sure I change this to 8. If the selection that I had selected was only 1 bar, then guess what? It would have been just 4 beats. So I have to come down to 4 beats. But right now it's at 8 beats. So this 8 beat selection that I have, it's telling me that the original tempo is at 81.67 beats per minute. And on the right-hand side, it's going to ask us if we want to time stretch this to a different tempo. In this case, I'm gonna just make this a new tempo at 81 beats per minute. I'm gonna take off the 0.67. So we have 81 beats per minute locked in. Awesome. So now we're at 81 beats per minute. That's how you figure out the tempo using the time stretch page within the sample edit page. I'm making this video because I want to put myself in your shoes, especially for somebody just getting started. And it's always the same question when it comes down to samples and matching drum breaks to actual samples that we're going to bring in right now. I'm going to leave the drums at 81 beats per minute. I'm gonna create a brand new track. And on this track right here, I have this record that I'm just so excited to sample. Look, I made this video mainly because I wanted to sample this record right here. And I said, you know what? We're gonna talk about how to figure out the tempo, but that's easy. That was fast. That's pretty much what we just went over. Let's just sample this because this sounds awesome. Oh man, all right, so we sampled bank A all the way to bank D. There's so much right here. What do I listen to, or why do I choose a certain sample? For me, I heard the tempo of this song right here is fairly slow, so it gives me space to chop up this record in quarter notes, and there's space in between each beat. Why do I mention space? The reason why I'm mentioning space in between each beat, meaning it's a slower tempo and there's not a lot going on. There's not drums, shakers, and percussive instruments everywhere where I'm chopping up and then it starts clashing with my drums. No, it's just a guitar. It's playing in minors and it's at a slow tempo. Most likely is going to work out for me. It just gives me the freedom to play around with these chops however I want to play with it. If I hit play on the drums, I already know that the tempo of those drums are faster than the tempo of this song. Without me even tapping out the tempo of the song, it's a feel thing, right? I can feel that those drums are a lot faster. If I hit play, all right, so I haven't pitched up or down. If I want to, I can keep it at the same original pitch of this record. I'm sorry, guys. This is awesome. I sometimes film these videos and I don't know what I'm gonna stumble up on until we're filming. And this sounds awesome. I'm gonna zoom in right here. I'm on the sample edit page and I'm going to truncate this. So see how now I'm just having fun. I'm playing 2 beats from here, another 2 beats from over here, I'm coming down here. I'm just using this now as an instrument and I already have my sample chopped up. I can do as I please without me having to break my head with different numbers because I mentioned space in between each beat as I'm sampling. Each beat gives me enough space to play around with different chops, maybe even play around with different banks. You know what? On this track, I'm gonna go ahead and add this plugin. This is called let me see, what is this called? Distortion amp. I think this is stock. You don't have to purchase this. This is just going to distort my signal just a tad. That's awesome. All right, so we got a little bit of distortion right there. I like how that sounds. Let's go ahead and hear this right here. I just stumbled across this right here. I got these 2 pads right here. 1 bar is gonna play this. And then the second bar, I'm gonna go from these 2 beats on bank A, and I'm gonna jump over to bank C and get these 2 beats on the second bar. It's her voice kind of humming just a little bit. It's enough for us to feel it within that phrase of the sequence. I don't know if I make any sense, but you know what? Let's record it. That is awesome. All right, look, that is it right there. Look at that voice. Her voice comes in so powerful. Oh, just throwing that beat right here with her voice. Look, this is all now natural instinct right now. I'm gonna go from pad or from the entire track to the single pad. And on this single pad, I'm gonna go to effects, send this signal. Woo, there it is. All right, that is it right there. Look, I'm gonna go into this arranger, and in this arranger I have 4 bars. This is a 4-bar sequence. Again, I always say a bar. That I go through all this within my course. If you guys are new to the MPC and you want step by step on how we develop, and just a sequence right now, I wanted to go from just a sequence to maybe an actual verse or add an intro. I go over everything you need to know on the arranger in the MPC 3.0. We explain how to start expanding this and how to add an intro, how to add a chorus, markers, and all that stuff. So if you want more information, I'll leave a link somewhere right here. You'll actually see, go ahead and sign up to my course. That's if you need that extra help as you're learning the MPC. But right here, I'm gonna go from 4 bars. Let's expand this into 8 bars. I actually just want to double length this sequence. Now we have 8 bars. At the ending of the 8th bar is where I'm gonna add that switch up. I'm gonna just delete these 2 beats right here, cut, and we're gonna replace that with these 2. That's it. Let's add that right there on the first beat. So let's erase this, shift, cut, and I'm gonna add this with, all right, let's go ahead and overdub, play start. All right, you know what? Let's add a bass line to this. We got to figure out what key the sample's on. I go right here. I'm gonna F minor. This is at F minor, so I'm gonna add a brand new track. And on this new track, I'm gonna make this into a key group. And right here, I'm gonna go into the track edit. I'm gonna look for a sample. Or actually, you know what? We need to browse for a sample. I want to get a bass sample. Listen, for bass notes, for bass samples, I know the MPC has some plug-in instruments that you could use that has some pretty decent bass sounds, but I don't know why, or I don't know what it is. I just like using samples, the actual small bass one-shots. There's this pack right here from Square One, Mahogany Segment Volume 1. I'll leave a link down in the description. This is a pack full of awesome samples, drum breaks, one-shots, but I always go back to this pack because of the bass notes that it has. The bass samples on this sound so good. Jump in right here, go to one shots. I'm gonna go to bass and let's look for this F minor. Let's get that right there. Now we'll go back to this key group. Let's go into the memory, bass. That sounds awesome. Look, there's just 3 tracks, drums, sample, and bass. Look, I have fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed watching me go through this and just chopping up some samples, putting some drums, some bass, sample chops. Now, this is a never-ending loop. I know it's hard to know when to stop, but if I bring in some vocals at 81 beats per minute and I lay something on top of this, I think it would come out really nice. Guys, that's going to be it right here. I hope you enjoyed this. I honestly don't even know what I'm going to name the video. I know I'm talking about matching tempos, but it just ended up sounding like a really good beat. I'm gonna save this. If you are part of my Patreon, download these sample chops. I would have this for you if you want to follow along, if you want to just download this, recreate your own flips. Download these chops. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch y'all on our next one. Peace.